Some of my favourite formative racing games in the late 80s and early 90s involved you being against the open road and trying to see how far you could get without crashing into people or running out of fuel. Early examples of this would be Enduro on the ZX Spectrum, trying to pass 301 or 501 cars without crashing. Outrun would fall into this, and to a lesser extent Road Rash and Skitchin because they were more race-based. But Pixel Driver, a game that's launched onto PlayStation and Switch, has taken this idea and just translated it to modern console. It is very arcade, it is very bare bones, it is very to the point, but what it does well. It puts you into a low poly aesthetic across 4 different environments to unlock and across 10 different cars to unlock and upgrade. And throughout procedurally generated runs, you'll see how far you can get without crashing into a car or running out of fuel. With each run, you'll be trying to dodge in and out of traffic, and depending on which of the 4 different areas that you're in, traffic is distributed in different ways. So in some of the more wider and open roads, you can dodge in and out of traffic quite easily and keep your foot to the throttle. But on some of the later areas, you're in 2 lanes of traffic, one towards and one and away, and you're having to kind of grit your teeth and dive down the middle and hope no one's changing lanes, otherwise you'll just smash into it. And whenever you do smash into a car, there's like this hilarious explosion of low poly car parts just flying off into the distance, which I found quite funny. The other way how you can kind of game over is to run out of fuel, and I have a couple of annoyances around this. Firstly, fuel is tied to distance and time rather than your throttle application. So there's no incentive to drive conservatively or strategically by feathering the throttle and trying to coast your way in between things. It just wastes you time, which wastes you fuel. So it's all about foot to the floor, which I guess is more of an arcade steer of things. But because levels are procedurally generated, the pickups that you deal with, the coins to unlock more things, or the fuel tanks to replenish your fuel, are also procedurally generated. And sometimes it didn't feel necessarily perfectly fair the way how the distribution of fuel cans were. Sometimes you'll get 4 or 5 next to each other in a row, and then you won't get any for 15, and you're thinking, come on! And that has attributed itself to more than one game over, where I've just felt, that felt a little bit too long for a fuel can to arrive. My main kind of USP though with Pixel Driver is less around the actual game itself, because it is bare bones to the point, but it does scratch an itch, I would say. And it scratches it well, because the game handles well. I didn't run into any bugs or crashes or anything like that. It runs perfectly smoothly. But what I really like about this game is the way how it does an online leaderboard and translates it into the game. So every area has an online leaderboard based on the distance and how far each player has got. And then what it does is it translates that distance into signage posts on the inside the game itself. So as you're driving forward, whoever's 60th on the leaderboard, their name will come towards you as you go past them, and your name's in there too. So when you get past your previous best, there's a cheer goes on in the game, and then you keep going. And I found it oddly more addictive and more satisfying to watch me pass other people physically on the leaderboard as I was driving down this endless motorway road than probably it really should do. And I just thought that was a really good way of implementing online leaderboards to feel like it's got an actual physical manifestation inside the game. And it might sound a bit odd, but it made me play the game more because the same people were popping up in different leaderboards, and I noticed that someone would be miles ahead of me on one place and then I'd be ahead of them on the other. And I was starting to pick random names and be like, right, you're my target next time, and try to beat them. So yeah, a really good way of getting you back in and replaying stuff again. That said, this is a perfectly fine budget title. Is it going to change your life? No. Is it going to be probably more fun for people that appreciate this kind of lo-fi retro aesthetic and experience? Absolutely. And so yeah, if you fit into that cap, which I certainly do, you'll appreciate Pixel Driver. Higher Plane Games is part of the Higher Plane Network, a completely independent media outlet supported by people like you. The goal is to create the best possible content that cultivates a richer indie scene for games as well as music and entertainment. To find out more and to get involved, visit patreon.com/higherplane-network. Your support makes all the difference, and in return you'll gain access to bonus content and downloads. Thank you for watching.